Hello viewers, welcome to our program on immigration and you. I am your immigration attorney Michael Fulwani, and once again we have with us attorney David Nachman, my partner.
Thanks so much, Michael.
David, welcome.
Pleasure to be with you again today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to make a small announcement, and then I know that you want to talk about, or we both will be discussing about 751 applications for removal of the conditional status.
Exactly.
So the DACA people, that the students,
Yeah, we call them Dacians.
Dacians, okay, let's say Dacians got their first card, and that was valid for 2 years.
2 years ago, right.
Now they've announced that you can apply for a renewal.
Correct.
So
And there's
if you want to apply for renewal, you should start doing now.
a couple of weeks back, an announcement was made and a new form was put out. So be very careful to make sure you use the new and updated I-821D form. And to be sure that also you apply on the 765 for the extension of work
So I have a
authorization.
question.
Yes.
Does the application for extension has to be made during the validity of the EAD of DACA or even after that? Supposing somebody missed it within the time frame of 2 years. Can you do late?
It's the way they're handling it is that they're saying that in order to be sure that there's no lapse in the work authorization, because that's really the danger,
Exactly.
is that individuals will lose their ability to drive and they're going to lose their ability to work. So the best thing to do is to apply as quickly as you possibly can. So the announcement was made several weeks ago about the DACA renewals. Best thing to do is as quickly as possible if you can get your DACA renewals in. But they're also saying that if you haven't applied for DACA and you think that you do qualify, go ahead and make your application, and you can do it on the new form, and you can get, in fact, the government was very surprised that only 600,000 people applied for DACA.
That was the reason.
Yeah, they said that they were kind of surprised because they expected many more people to apply. So if you feel that you qualify, you can, of course, go online, take a look at the information about DACA, apply yourself, or you can feel free to reach out for a qualified immigration legal professional who I'm sure would be able to guide you through the DACA process.
Okay, let me just go with some small news. This is connected with the subject of a conditional status or fraud in marriage.
Of course.
IMFA. Once upon a time, I'm going back maybe 40 years, 35 years, there was no IMFA, Immigration Marriage Fraud Act. People used to come in from India, other countries, get married, and then get a green card directly, 10 years, no conditional
It was
status,
before
nothing.
1989, I believe.
That is correct. I'm talking about 70s and
Yeah.
80s, and that period was so simple and easy. But then there was a lot of fraud happening in the marriages, as a result of which the Congress decided that we should put some brakes on the fraud. And this is how they came up with IMFA, Immigration Marriage Fraud Act, under which they said that based upon the marriage, if your marriage is not over 2 years old, you will get a conditional green card, and at the end of the 2-year period, you both have to apply for a joint petition
Exactly.
to show us that you are still married happily and living together.
Correct.
Or in some cases, if there is a breakdown of the marriage, divorce, death or something,
Right.
then they had this process of the subject, the 751,
Waivers.
that you can apply for a waiver.
Correct.
So this small news I'm going to give you, how far the fraud goes. This is about, we always say, don't commit fraud, don't misrepresentation.
Exactly.
But believe me, even some politicians, people at this level, this case that I'm talking about, she was assemblywoman, I think Gabia Rosa of New York.
Bronx.
She was arrested and convicted for fraudulent marriage, giving the false statement.
Right.
And this happened several years ago. She paid $8,000. She said, admitted that I paid $8,000 to a U.S. citizen to enter the country. And as per the plea agreement,
We could have done a real case for her for a
she
lot
resigned.
less.
So, so this is what I'm saying, that even whatever level it is, doesn't matter. If you have committed fraud, then you can be in trouble. So therefore, it's not a good idea to commit fraud. And when we talk about the 751, that element of fraud comes in. What is the purpose of 751? If you have fraudulently got your initial green card, you have a problem.
Exactly.
They want to make sure that there is a bona fide marriage, that at that point they didn't have too many papers, right? They get married, and after 1 week, 2 weeks applied, there's nothing to give them.
Right.
But now, 2 years down the road, you should have tax returns, you should have driver license, you should have financial. They want to see all those documents, papers, to be satisfied that this is a real
Bona
marriage.
fide marriage, exactly. It's a measure of the bona fides of the marital relationship, as you rightfully point out, Michael. This was something that came into the law under the Marriage Fraud Amendment Act, and basically what happened was that they gave individual conditional residence, and then 90 days prior to the second anniversary, the individuals had to go back and demonstrate the bona fides of that marital relationship, and that was done to lift the conditions so you get the 10-year green card. And now what you have in place is that sometimes marriages don't work out. We know that at least in the United States, the statistics are something like 50% of the marriages don't work out. So does it mean if your marriage is not working out that you have no ability to get the green card? Well, that's not what it means. There are two additional ways in which you can file the I-751. The first one is that you can demonstrate that you entered into a bona fide marriage that was subsequently dissolved by divorce. And the way that that works is that you don't have a timing mechanism on that. So whereas when you file jointly, you have to file 90 days prior to the second anniversary, when you have a
Which means
divorce,
after
you can
1
file
year,
immediately.
After 1 year and 9 months.
After 1 year and 9 months,
But before
correct.
the 2 years are up.
Correct.
There's a 3-month
Exactly.
window.
That's exactly right. And the mechanism is that what you do is when you file that 751, the I-751, the petition to lift the conditions on residency, conditional residency, what ends up happening is you get a notice in the mail which extends your green card for 1 full year. So individuals, let's say, who are no longer married, what they would do is if there is a divorce, as long as there's a divorce in place, you can file that I-751 at any time. So a lot of people ask me, they say they're 1 year into the marriage, and they say, listen, I got kicked out of the house, my wife kicked me out of the house, and, she filed for divorce. What do I do? I'm scared I'm going to get deported. And the answer is no, as long as you have a divorce in place, you can go ahead and file but you have to demonstrate that it was a bona fide marriage. You can't, you have to prove that you entered into that marriage in good faith. So what types of documents do you use? It's the same types of documents that you used when you originally filed the I-130 and the
Much
I-44.
more than that, because at that time, they did not have a lot of documents that we now can give.
That's right. That's exactly right. But some people, every case is different that way. And what we do is we try to sit down with the clients and try to understand how they conducted their lives. For example, we have some people who like to take a lot of pictures.
Yes.
We have some people who don't take pictures.
They travel a lot
We have some
together.
people who travel out. We have some people who don't travel out. We have some people who send cards and receive cards. We have some people who don't. We have some people who have religious weddings. We have some people who don't have religious weddings. Oftentimes, at least in the Indian community, what we see is individuals who will have, let's say, a
But
civil
some documentation
ceremony.
has to be. You have
They'll
to
have-
just fill a
right.
form and give it.
Well, they'll have a civil ceremony, and then what they'll do is they'll have the religious ceremony back in India,
Yes.
and then you have nice videos, you have photos, you have all kinds of great stuff,
Right.
and you can get affidavits from family members and friends talking about the bona fides of the marital relationship. So here's the thing. Bottom line is that if you're in a situation where your marriage is not working out, and even though it's a year into it, all is not lost. Talk to a qualified immigration professional who can guide you on your options. And that's one option, is the waiver. So a waiver based upon a bona fide marriage entered into, which is subsequently dissolved by divorce. Now let's talk to our viewers about the second waiver. The second waiver that's available is based upon abuse or battered spouse.
Correct.
And that's a little harder. That's a more difficult legal standard because what you have to do is, first of all, you can file it at any time. It's, again, unlike the first one, which has to be filed 90 days prior to the second
First one is
anniversary.
actually based upon good faith marriage.
Correct.
Good faith, that's
Correct.
the most important.
And if you're so here's the thing: is bear in mind that if you're filing jointly, you must file 90 days prior to the second anniversary. If you don't, then there are risks involved in that. And some people do, by the way, file after that 90 days. Some people, let's say, go over the year and they file late. If you're going to do that, it's not going to, and many people ask us this question, does that mean that it's the death knell of our case? The answer is no, because as long as you put together an appropriate filing with a request for what's called nunc pro tunc status. Nunc pro tunc means now for then. So what you're doing is you're asking the federal government to go back.
But I always put some kind of affidavit explaining the reasons
Exactly.
I was sick or not available or something.
Right, what was the reason why you
I
missed
did
that
not file.
90-day
Correct.
date?
Always
Exactly.
something to show.
Exactly. You have to show that there's a reasonable basis or a reasonable grounds for which you were not able to file within the specified parameters of time.
David, you mentioned earlier about after filing a 751, you get a first letter which says you can continue to remain more 1 year, you can travel, you can
Correct.
work also. I want to give you a little background of that.
Please.
How did this come? How that happened? Me.
Oh, okay.
When this law was promulgated, the regulations, the comment period, I was thinking, okay, this is a good idea, but the immigration service takes a lot of time. So 2 years down the road, when we apply for this, and if they don't, there's nothing there, the person has nothing there. They're waiting for another year, 6 months, how they continue to work, how could they travel? So I sent a nice letter to the Commissioner of Immigration, also saying that however, this is very good to prevent fraudulent marriages, but what will happen after filing? How does the person continue to work or travel? So it took within about a month or 6 weeks, I got a thank you letter. We thank you very much for bringing it to the attention, and now we have decided this is what we are going to do. Initial receipt letter that we will issue, it will have these both things, that if your green card is extended by 1 year, you can continue to work and also travel. So when you mentioned, got me back to 30.
Well, it's brilliant, because if you think about it, when you file that petition, okay, when you file that 751, what status does the individual have? You see, if technically their green card, their conditional green card expires, and they're not going to, because you could obviously try to file an I-90 to extend the green card, that's going to be denied because the 751 hasn't met the conditions.
Yes.
So obviously by giving them that 1 full year, what they're doing is allowing themselves 1 full year of processing time. So it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
So listen, here, the point here is that if 1 year they are extending, but for some reason the 751 is still pending, the 1 year goes by, then they, I think, can do InfoPass and go in and get 1 more year.
Right, exactly, Michael. And that's also a good point. So what happens then is that if it's still processing, what you can do is you can make an InfoPass appointment. You can go in on an InfoPass appointment, set up a date to see an officer, explain the situation clearly, and then hopefully what the officer will do is grant an I-551 stamp, which is a temporary stamp that's placed in the passports. They don't like to use those stamps because they are there has been some issues with fraud.
Yeah.
So what it does, I think, is it compels the government at least to process that 751 within a 1 year period of time. Now, what's also interesting is that bear in mind that if you are the beneficiary of that 751, at the 3 year mark, you also qualify for citizenship.
That is correct.
So you can
and that
apply
goes,
for
that
citizenship.
From the first date of the first card.
Correct. And so 90 days prior to the 3rd anniversary, most of the time, if it's a 245A benefit you're seeking, you can apply for the citizenship. And then, of course, you can, at that point, if the 751 has not been adjudicated, at least in the district office in New Jersey, they will compel the adjudication of the I-751 within the NATS division.
Yeah, one other thing I want to mention, again, we said earlier, that the conditional status is only granted if the green card or if the person arrives the U.S. within 2 years from the date of the marriage. For example, person got married, then applied for a green card, and he got an immigrant visa from the American consul. You land at the Kennedy airport. And on that date, if that time from the date of the marriage, it has been more than 2 years, then the person gets a full 10-year
10-year green card.
There's no condition. Now, I've seen some cases,
Exactly.
few cases in my lifetime, where the person came after 2 years, but still gave them a conditional status. I immediately went back to the immigration saying, you made
have
a
to
mistake.
fix it, exactly.
Because this rule does not apply.
we see that
Conditional
often.
stay doesn't apply, and therefore we can get it remediated.
Exactly. It's very important that if you feel that the case has been improperly decided, make sure you go back to CIS to have it fixed, because you can't take advantage of a mistake that the government has
A
made.
couple of small other items that I
I
have.
think we're just running out of time, Michael, so I just want
Okay,
to...
so we'll hold some of these things which will relate to the no-fly list, and the court said that that may violate the rights, and also your phones cannot be taken away without a warrant. So they are important items. We'll cover in details in the next program. We thank you very much, David, for being
Thank
with
you
us
so
here
much,
today.
Michael.
And
Pleasure to
thank
be
all
here.
of you for watching the program. Please keep watching us every Saturday and Sunday only on Vision of Asia and ITV. Thank you very much.